These are the mistakes you are making that is frustrating your rotoscope process. Welcome to 2025, my friends. Welcome to 2026, my friends. 2025 was a great year. I was able to drop some amazing breakdowns on this channel, and you guys dropped some beautiful comments on my videos, and it was just so beautiful to see. Thank you guys for the support so far. This year, of course, is going to get better, and I plan to drop more videos in 2026. And of course, I'm planning to be consistent with it. So if you are not subscribed to this channel, this is the time to do so, and invite your friends to also join this community. Now, if you are into editing in 2026, or you are planning to go into editing in 2026, you will definitely have to do 1 or 2 VFX in your edits. And when I talk about VFX, I'm not saying having fire, brimstone, people flying around in your edits. That's not what I'm talking about. It could be something simple as object transition. So either you are doing the big effect or the small effect, you will definitely have to do 1 or 2 VFX in your edits. So Rotoscope is one tool you definitely want to have in your arsenal. Also, I've noticed that people avoid VFX just because of rotoscoping. It sounds too advanced for them. Yes, it's an advanced technique, but it's not as hard as people think it is. You are the one not following the rules. So in this video, I will be explaining how to rotoscope properly, right from the shooting phase, that is the production, to post-production. So let's get into it. The first thing we need to understand is the origin of rotoscoping. If you've been around from the days of CS5, CS6, you definitely know how hard it is to mask around this subject, mask out a subject with the pen tool. It's usually hard to do, it's not usually perfect, and it takes a longer time to do. So Adobe came with the Roto Brush, the Roto Brush tool. So this is an advanced masking tool that separates the subject from the background just by painting around the subject. So it is more efficient. So basically, the simple way to define a rotoscope is Rotoscope or Roto Brush is an advanced masking tool. Even though the Roto Brush is effective, it has its own limits. So there are some things, or let's say rules, you have to pay attention to if you don't want to be frustrated in edits. So let's start with the shooting phase, that is the production. Number 1, contrast. The Roto Brush works with contrast. Contrast is just the relationship between the shadow area and the highlight area in your shot. So if you are planning to rotoscope later, you have to make sure your shot has a good contrast, because if your shot is blending, if your subject is blending with the background, that is you can't differentiate between the shadow and the highlights. The Roto Brush will have a difficult time distinguishing between the subject and the background. So what you can do is light your subject properly, make sure it is different, it is somewhat separate from the background. Number 2, wardrobe and color. Your rotoscope won't work perfectly if the you are distracting me.
I will send it to you tomorrow morning when I'm more relaxed. And your Roto trader has to Roto. It's your Roto that make me come and distract.
Number 2, wardrobe and color. Your rotoscope won't work perfectly if the color of your subject is the same with the background. For example, if you have a black cloth on and you are shooting on a very dark background or even a black background, your rotoscope won't work perfectly, you will be frustrated. So make sure the color of your subject is different from the background you want to rotoscope it from. Number 3, motion blur. I know many directors want to have cinematic motion blur in their shots, but this is not the best for rotoscope. Yes, there is a motion blur option while rotoscoping, but it's not the best to use. It's better to just avoid it. So what you can do is to increase your shutter speed to have a decent motion blur, enough to avoid motion blur in your shots, except you are working with a very fast VFX. So if your VFX is fast, you might not have issue with it, so it's just going to be very fast. But if it's going to be visible, if the motion is going to stay for a while, the motion blur is going to give you an issue. So just avoid motion blur, don't be frustrated. Number 4, shooting flat. I'm not saying you can't shoot flat, but if you are shooting flat, make sure while rotoscoping you first convert it to Res 709 so that you see what you are doing properly. Now for the post-production, these are the mistakes people make. Number 1, know-how. There are some people who don't even know where to start from. Okay, let's deal with that first. So to rotoscope, select the Roto Brush tool from the toolbar at the top. To adjust the size of the Roto Brush, hold down the command on Mac or Control on Windows, then drag up and down your mouse to increase or decrease the size of the Roto Brush. Then paint around your subject. Everything within the green area is what will be visible, but to remove some parts, hold the Alt key and you will see the brush turn to red. Now paint the area you want to remove. Also, after every paint, there will be a stroke for each paint. You can now move frame by frame to make sure what you've rotoscoped is intact. This is the best option, but if you believe you followed all the rules in the shooting phase, in the production phase, you can move the timeline indicator to the end of your clip and let After Effects analyze the footage for you. To feather the Roto Brush, you can come to the Effects Control dock and adjust the feather. If you want to invert the rotoscope, click on this invert. Now, if you feel like the rotoscope should shrink inside the subject, I do this most times when the background is still on the subject after rotoscoping. You can shift the edge in or out. Then when you are okay with what you have, freeze it. So aside not knowing how to rotoscope, there are other mistakes people make. Number 2, system capacity. If you are shooting to rotoscope later, another thing you need to consider is your laptop or PC capacity. Now, not all rotoscope process will be heavy for your system. No, this depends on the number of strokes you have. Like I said earlier, after every paint, the Roto Brush is going to generate a stroke for you for every paint. So the higher the number of strokes you have, the heavier your system becomes. Also, the resolution of the clip you are working on can also determine if it's going to be heavy or not. So if you are working on a HD clip, it's going to be lighter than working on the 4K clip or 8K clip. Number 3, frame rate. If you are working on a composition of, let's say, 25 frames per second and you have a clip of 50 frames per second to be rotoscoped, the Roto Brush is not going to allow you rotoscope it in that 25 frames per second composition. What you now have to do is to pre-compose that 50 frames per second clip and rotoscope it from there. Now you can have your rotoscope. Number 4, preview. The Roto Brush will require you to set your preview resolution to full before you can start rotoscoping. Number 5, resetting. Another thing people complain about is that the rotoscope keep analyzing while editing. This is happening because you didn't freeze your rotoscope after you finish rotoscoping. And if you have any adjustment to make, just unfreeze it and then freeze it back when you are done with your adjustments. Number 6, the rotoscope not selecting properly. Now, if you move your timeline indicator to the end of your clip and let After Effects analyze the footage for you, if you check in between the shots, you might not have a perfect rotoscope. So what you need to do is to check your frames frame by frame and adjust the rotoscope accordingly. Number 7, rough cutouts. If you have a rough cutout in your rotoscope, all you need to do is to go to the Effects Control panel and you will see the feather option there. Feather it to your liking and you will have a smooth rotoscope. Number 8, air rotoscope. If you are working on tiny objects like hair strands, what you need is the Refine Edge brush tool. So go to the toolbar where the Roto Brush is, hold down the Roto Brush and you will see the Refine Edge brush tool. Use that for fine details. The last but not the least, subscribe to this channel for more amazing content like this. Thank you for watching. Like this video, share this video with your friends, and we will have a beautiful 2026 together. Thank you for watching. Until next time, remember, it's always okay. Peace out.